So yeah, I guess that brings us to our last guy, right? Cam Akers. And I know you already said.
Yeah. Make your case so I can rip it apart and just know I'm going the exact opposite way with it.
Yeah, and well, so the
I don't. It's not a statistical thing. It's really not. It's like a very gut call thing.
It's going to be a harder case to make the more reports that come out about like today. Henderson is also considered an RB1 in this offense, and it's a bit more split. My only argument for Akers was going to be workload in a great offense. That Daigle stat I already cited, you might as well run it again. 94%, 95%, 86%, 71%, 90%, 48%, 83%, 93%, 100%, 71, 173. I mean, workhorse was the weekly running back touch type of style for McVay's back last year. So you look at Akers comes back and he was averaging, even though he wasn't looking great, 19.25 opportunities per game. Yes, ineffective 2.6 yards per carry, but coming off a torn Achilles, I can't hate on that. He also faced the Buccaneers, third best run D, 49ers, seventh, and Bengals fifth during there. So, all top 10 against the run. So we can't just ignore the fact that this guy's coming off an Achilles, also facing 3 top 10 run Ds, probably isn't going to look great. So to me, it was just a case of they showed what they want, in my opinion. At least that's what I thought when I had him ranked in my top 20, that they want this guy to be their horse. And last time he was 100%, we saw him go for 645 and 140 carries, 4 touchdowns across 6 games. I mean, he was looking like the next great young RB1, including those playoff games. So if he is truly 100% and they're going to feed him like this workhorse and this is going to be a top 5 offense in the league, it looks like a 20-touch explosive young back in one of the best offenses in the league. But explosive young back is obviously with a huge asterisk because he's coming off an Achilles, and very few, if any, I don't think anybody has ever come at the running back position, at least, off an Achilles and had a productive year. So huge if. They did mention it also involving him more in the passing game too, just as another thing I liked about him. But those are all the bold cases, and I know you're going to rip it to shreds, so let's hear it.
Yeah, so I think the best argument for him is, like you said, Sean McVay wants a bell cow running back. That role, depending on how talented you are, is like anywhere between overall RB1 to low-end RB1. We saw that with Darrell Henderson last year prior to injury. We saw that with Cam Akers at the tail end of 2020. And we saw that with Todd Gurley, right? And, despite having only one functional leg, despite averaging just 2.57 yards per carry, McVay gave Akers the lion's share, 66% of the team's backfield touches with the season on the line when it mattered most in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. And so Graham, again, he was like, hey, you're the bell cow guy. You should love Cam Akers. And my response to him was only half joking, maybe like 20% jokingly. Cam Akers has the same injury discount as Bronco Nagurski. They're both dead. And I just cannot get on board with a running back coming off of an Achilles injury. If you look at the list of names, and there's a list of, 12 to 15 names, there's only ever been one running back to finish as a fantasy RB4 or better post-Achilles. That was Mikel LaShore, who only saw 2 touches in the following season and then never played football again. So to me, just the injury risk and comedy risk, committee risk is way too high to justify his current ADP. And then, like you said, after I wrote this blurb, a bunch of tweets have come out where McVay is talking about this as a committee. And yeah, Darrell Henderson has been must draft for me. So really like the arbitrage there. And maybe this is like a dummy take. Like, he returned faster than anyone thought humanly possible. Maybe science has progressed and it's no longer a damning injury. But like I've said for a few of these names, I've become more, I'm like known as the non-risk averse guy. I really lean into risk and upside. But with injuries and running backs, I've been a little more skeptical lately.
Yeah. I guess my one hope is what you just kind of said there at the end. The fact that he came back in 6 months, even though he didn't look great, is a sign of a freakish ability on his part. He is younger than a lot of those running backs were. Actually, I'm looking at the list now, though. I do have a chart right here, and a lot of them were 24, 22, so they weren't. It's pretty damning. It's a terrible list. but maybe it is science. You remember ACLs used to be like, you'll never come back from an ACL tear. Then it became a year. Now it's 6 months. So maybe Achilles does become that type of thing. It does feel a whole lot worse. I just picture tearing my Achilles. It sounds awful.
I mean, James Robinson's not on the pup, so like maybe that's just, hey, it's a 6-month injury now.
Maybe it'll become the new ACL at some point. And if so, then Akers will be a value. The only reason I feel even a little bit comfortable is the fact that he did come back. So he got the chance to kind of, how much they talk about the mental part of it, of regaining your trust in your leg and taking a hit and kind of just being there. He's already gotten that out of him. So whether or not he's ever going to be the same athlete he was, that's certainly up for grabs. But the fact that he at least has that kind of part of it out of his system, and we've at least seen him, makes me feel just a little bit better. The committee does worry me a whole lot more than I was before, but it's not with McVay's trend either. So it's tricky. It's a really tricky one. The list is not proud for him. So who do you have in your top 20? If Akers is outside of it, who's the guy that's taking his spot for you?
Oh, I have no idea. I didn't even get that far.
Oh, okay. Maybe Dobbins, Dylan, Mitchell, or something like the next guys up.
Here's a tweet that didn't go viral, but really should have. Jeff Zrebic, I'm not pronouncing that right, but he's definitely the best Ravens beat writer, tweeted out 5 hours ago. Greg Roman says he feels the running back competition is wide open. Wow. And, maybe he's talking about everyone else, but that is scary as hell.
Yeah.
It's super scary. And so, Tyler Batty, Mike Davis, those are guys I'll take, because like with my bell cow or bust draft strategy, I'm really typically going RB, and then maybe RB again with the next 2 picks. But I think this year is unique where there's this value that we see, round 3, Kamara must draft. There's these round 4 guys, round 5, David Montgomery, that you can wait. But really after that, with special exceptions, I'm neglecting running back for the remainder of the draft, minus these last round dart throws like a Mark Ingram, an Eno Benjamin, a Tyler Batty, Kareem Hunt, Darrell Henderson. Those are 2 guys we talked about that I like, that I'll make an exception for. But really, like, all the safety, all of the upside is at the top of your draft at the running back position. It's the most important position. So I really don't give a lot of thought. I really think the tier dies with, for me, James Conner at RB19 or Breece Hall at RB18. But really, David Montgomery at RB15, just because like he's going after all these guys and I like him more. So I don't tend to take dart throws on these committee backs. The rest of our staff loves Ramondre Stevenson, who I loved coming out. They love Kenneth Walker, and I get that. Rashad Penny can't stay healthy, and they like some other names. I probably, like, just out of stubbornness, don't want to give up on CEH. I might take him in a draft or 2, but realistically, avoiding all of the likely committee backs.
Yeah, I see it 100% the same way. Whether Akers is in that top 20 or becomes a 19 with Montgomery, I'm going to be bumping up Montgomery after our conversation too. It just definitely helped me get a little more confidence. I don't know why I had him low, to be honest. But yeah, I see after 5th round Montgomery, I don't typically take a running back till round 13, 14. The one exception I've made is taking stabs at the Bills, because I kind of see that similar to how the Bucks were last year, whereas if somebody does emerge, it's such a good offense that if it's Singletary remaining what he was to end last year, which was the running back 2 in the fantasy playoffs, great. Like, he could be a touchdown machine. If James Cook becomes like their version of Kamara, he could be a monster. So I've taken a few Bills in that round 10, 11 range. I've taken a stab at Kenneth Gainwell just because I love the line there, and I'm just not into Miles Sanders at all. So if I'm fading him, I like taking Gainwell in round 13, 14. Henderson's a really good one, as you pointed out. But I'm with you. Like, after round 5, I'm certainly not relying anybody on as a starter, and I'm taking guys strictly for some bench upside in case their best case scenario hits. I view it the exact same way. I think one philosophical thing that changed for me as we talked tonight was I've been big on running back. Like, start your draft, get your 3 bell cows, and go with it. But the more we talk through some of these, Kamara round 3, Zeke round 4, and Montgomery round 5. Let's say you did that, but you also had 2 elite pass catchers to then lead into that. you went receiver, or Kelsey receiver, something of that nature, and then you still ended up with those running backs. Like, that is just as sexy as a running back heavy team early. It just, to me, 3 running backs in the first 5. I don't care where they necessarily come from. I had originally been pumping 3 running backs have to come early, but the more we talk through these guys, like, I don't see a dead zone until after 5, and then I see a empty its wasteland type of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
But yeah,
Post-apocalyptic wasteland of RBs.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm with you. I think 3 running backs in your 5, doesn't matter exactly which 5 they come in, is kind of my new philosophy after tonight, which I appreciate you helping me kind of think that through. It's a good philosophy for sure. And by the way, the comments are big on to Zeke mostly. Offense is going to be given more opportunities. Zeke, because Cowboys offense better. Bears O-line's also abysmal, which is fair. It's not a great offensive line there either. So in that kind of poll, it seems like Zeke kind of won out for the crowd here.
Yeah. So again, if you listen to this, even if it's not live, I'll pop in the comments tomorrow and check everything out. You'd be doing me a big favor if you told me what you found extremely compelling, what you didn't, what you agreed with, what you didn't. Guys, you're moving up or down, and that's the same thing for you, Wolf. Please let me know if you adjusted rankings on anyone, and obviously, just like always, love chatting with you. Really respect your opinion. I thought this was a great help to talk this out, and you gave me a bunch of stuff I'm gonna put into the article before publish, and hopefully your YouTube subscribers got a lot out of this. I mean,
absolutely. Oh man, it was a blast. The pleasure was all mine. I certainly took a ton away from our conversation as well. Thanks to
you put in 2 hours 20 minutes in the midst of COVID. So
it was 2 hours.
That's like Zeke and his PCL.
It was 2 hours and 20 minutes. I didn't think about having COVID, man. It was an absolute blast. It's been very light symptoms too. I don't want to over exaggerate having COVID. I just worried my voice would be lost, but here I am, 220 in and still talking. My mom told me my voice was horrible, but hey, we made it through, Mom, if you're still listening. So
yeah, my mom told me my voice is very manly and I'm a very handsome boy. Sorry, your mom's a jerk. I don't know.
No, she's the nicest lady in the world. She was worried when I called her this morning. She's like, "You sound terrible." Like it was the nicest little, like, she meant it
so sweet.
The nicest way you could tell someone their voice sounds
My
terrible.
poor sick baby.
Exactly the place it was coming from. But no, man, this was great. As Barrett mentioned too, he's going to be checking the comments. I know this is a live, so the comments like pop up on the screen. So anybody that wants to comment in some of their takes, what they found valuable or what they think we should reconsider, do that on the post show too, because it's probably going to be a lot easier for Scott to see those, or just hit him up at Scott Barrett DFB. Is that right?
Yep.
You can always just tweet at him. You can tweet at me to send it to Scott, because we're always chatting as well if you have anything you'd like to send. But we held it together for 2 hours, 20 minutes. Barrett, you're the man. I really appreciate you giving me that time. I'm going to hit a couple of the questions that popped up in here. But thanks again so much for coming on, chatting through these running backs. I will definitely send you some of those things that we chatted through. If there's any, I don't know if you messaged me about the ETN video and those things, send me any that you want me to make sure you send, and I will be sure to get you those resources. But yeah, thanks again so much. I can't wait it's the Bell Cow report. That's right. The article that's coming out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Can't wait for that to drop. Everybody, you can find that at fantasypoints.com. Again, cannot recommend Barrett and just the whole crew over there more than I already do. So go check them out if you haven't already. And thanks again so much for the time, Scott. I really, really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Wolf.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.